Hey man, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I've been posting daily for 3 weeks. I still don't have any clients.
Hasn't Hustle Bro told you? Lambos don't fall out of the fucking sky. You gotta send more cold DMs.
But motherfucker, I'm broke.
Listen here, fucker. You're one funnel away from having a Lambo, a 2 Comma Club award, and jerking off Gary Vee and Alex Hormozy at the same fucking time.
I don't know, man. I've been at this shit 3 years. Maybe I should just give up and go get a job.
Are you fucking deaf? Just send more DMs, bitch.
What's up, guys? It's Frankie. In this video, I want to show you guys the $1 million funnel secrets. I'm not going to give you an actual breakdown. This was in our second agency of funnel. We did that signed, I want to say 150-ish clients. And we actually could have signed a lot more, but we had typically fulfillment problems. We were trying to keep up with all the work and the hiring and the teams and the systems and all those forth, things like that. But I want to show you the exact math, the exact structure, the exact setup that you guys can use and go model. This was primarily done with Facebook ads with a little bit of strategy and sophistication behind it. And what I think you guys are going to find is that it's actually easier to do than most people think, and you don't need as much volume as typically taught in our space. You just need the right people into the funnel. I'm going to tell you guys in this video who the right people are in whatever industry you're in, how to go get them, and then the basic sort of setup and strategy to go get them. For those of you guys who don't know me already, my name is Frankie Finn. I wrote these 2 best-selling books, Beyond the Agency Box, which you can find a link for below this video. I've also built 3 of my own agencies up to 100 plus clients, and I've helped thousands of people like you out there to live this more beach, less laptop lifestyle. Let's get into the good shit.
Yo, it's Frankie Finn. Beach mode engaged. Looms loaded, AI's humming. Let's go!
All right, let's take care of the boring shit that most of you guys hated in school, which is called the old math. Or for those of you guys in the UK or certain parts of the world, maths with an S, but I don't do no S's where I'm from. And to hit $1 million run rate, we needed about 500 qualified leads into our system. And what we found is for every 500 people who came in, about 75 of those would actually request a sales conversation kind of thing. And a little bit more than 50%, but if you do the kind of funnel that I'm showing, you'll typically get like 40 to 45. And if you have a 2K per month service, which we did, we raised the price later halfway through and went to $2,500 a month. But basically, when you hit 42 clients at 2K per month, it's 84K a month, which puts you at $1 million run rate. Okay? So this means, by the way, if you're running Facebook ads and you're doing this, you actually only need 500 people in your system in total to actually hit $1 million run rate. And so I wanted to show you guys this because a lot of times this can feel like a super daunting number. And as long as you're running ads, like if you're spending like 30, 40 bucks a day and you're getting like just 1 to 2 qualified leads in your system a day, like off of $30, $40 in spend, you'll actually hit that number inside of a year. In less than a year of running those ads, you'll get 500 qualified people, which will lead to 75 sales inquiries. That should say inquiries, not necessarily calls. And if you do the kind of funnel I'm talking about, the funnel will do most of the selling, not the calls, not your salesmanship. You'll close 40 to 45 of them. Again, at 2K per month. Obviously, if you charge less, you'll need more of them. If you charge more, and as a general rule, by the way, if you got a 2K per month service like we did, you should be willing to spend $2,000 to go get 1 single client. So that's the boring math side of the equation. So I hope you're looking at this and you're seeing a sense of possibility and going, I can do that, which is kind of like this.
And Blue!
Yes, sir.
Do you trust that I do not want to see you die here tonight?
Sir, yes, sir.
Blue, you're my boy!
Thank you, sir.
All right, so let's talk about what the actual funnel looks like, okay? So the first thing is it started with an ad that we ran on Facebook. And by the way, this exact same funnel still works today. This was a few years ago, but the same exact funnel still works. In fact, we run variations of it still now today. But it started with a Facebook ad. And the Facebook ad did not go to what most people try and do, is not go straight to let's fucking jump in bed. It went to a webinar. And this was a well-crafted sort of step-by-step presentation that shows them everything they could be doing. And in between that step, there was a landing page where they had to register. And the point of the registration was very simple, is we wanted to capture the contact info. So we knew, also so we could send the relevant info to actually get people to show up to the webinar, but also so we had the ability to send them additional information, okay? Now this was a couple years ago. We close all our stuff with video today, but back in those days, the purpose of that, the webinar at the end of that, it would say, if you fit this criteria, book a call with us, and that would lead to a qualified conversation. Now, I think what's missing from most people's magic is really what happens after the webinar, okay? So really, we went from, you just heard of us a minute ago, okay? Now you're seeing an ad. In our case, we were running ads to attorneys, and we'd say, register on this landing page for this free training. Only about 50% of people even actually watched the training they just registered for. Isn't that some crazy shit? And we had it set up as an automated webinar using a tool called Stealth Seminar. So it constantly delivered a new version of it every like 15 minutes. And so the person would register and the webinar would be live. But again, only half the people watched it. And probably of the people who watched it all the way through, only 10% would book a call on the first day. So like that's still not bad numbers. I think the numbers we were paying somewhere between $10 and $12 per webinar registration. So that meant for 20, 30 bucks, we could get an attorney to actually watch our webinar. And for every like $300 or so, we would get a call. And that was still like not a bad thing. Again, if you got a $300 or a $2,000 a month service, getting $300 for a call. But what we found is somebody who just heard of us like an hour before, those were probably our least qualified ones. And so what we focused on to move the needle after the fact was to send a series of emails. And these were really designed to simulate a sales conversation. Now, we eventually in our funnel had 50 different emails, and we eventually cloned all of those same 50 emails as retargeting emails. Now, what did we actually put in there? Well, we used the power of telekinesis to do cool shit like this.
All right, sir, this lane's closed. You'll need to head back through the line. I'll be going now, thanks.
How I wish we could actually do that in the real world, okay? So what actually went into these emails? Well, the emails and the retargeting, which by the way, were the same thing. And we started with just one, just so you guys know. We didn't like build 50 at once, although with AI, that's a lot easier. We started with one. And the first thing we did is we started answering questions about, our service. Things like, how much is it? How long does it take? What kind of results can I expect? And then what happened is when we started running it, we were getting calls and we started getting objections. So here was an objection we got. Have you done this for other attorneys? Can I talk to one of them? Yes, we had done it for other attorneys. No, we didn't like people talking to our clients, mostly because they just wasted their fucking time, right? Like they're busy, they got shit going on. And so we didn't like people just calling up our clients, every time they had a question. But if you got an email, we can send them. We also, when we started having them, which was not in the beginning, but eventually we started sending case studies, okay? We also sent educational stuff just about how the process works. So in our case, we were running Facebook ads to get clients. So we need to educate people, how does getting clients work, with Facebook ads if you're a personal injury attorney. Then also we started getting what I call my authority flex. So I wrote an article for Attorney at Law magazine. So in our case, it was like, hey, come read our Attorney at Law magazine. And like I said, this didn't happen in 5 minutes. This was probably built over like 6 months, which by the way, one of the biggest reasons people fail with ads is I hear this all the time. I've been running them 10 minutes. I've been running them 3 days. I've been running them 6 seconds, right? I looked at it like if we spent even $1 right here, then I was going to retarget and follow up with every lead. So that meant to me, even if just one person was interested, I would follow them up with 6 months, 12 months, a year. And we use tools and automation to do this. In fact, our automation, although today we use GHL. If you guys are interested, I got a special little bonus for you of GHL if you get it through my link. But I used to use a tool called Aweber, which is an email automation kind of thing. And we would send them all kinds of variations of these. Now, by the way, every single one of these emails, every single one of these retargeting ads went back to the same place, which is book a call. And what we found is, by the way, if somebody had just heard of us 5 minutes before, didn't watch the webinar, and registered for a call, our conversion rates on those calls were really low because they didn't know who we are, they didn't know what we did, they didn't know how much it cost. And so in many ways, the best leads actually came when they were 6 months through the system. They had their questions answered, they had seen our case studies, they'd consumed some of our educational content, they had seen some of our authority stuff. I eventually had stage speaking stuff, so like, you know, speaking was in there. It was like videos of here's me giving a talk to some lawyers at such and such event, check it out. And if you're interested, book a call. And the other reason to do this is what most people run is single step funnels. I had 50 chances to get you on a call where most people had just one. Right? And if you count the email and the retargeting as really two separate things, even though it's the same content, it really gives us 100 chances to book a call. And eventually, by the way, our landing page had a thank you page that after you registered said you should book a call. So we really had like 101 different ways to get you into a call. And what we found is our average call went to about $150 to $300. It varied from time to time. And so that meant we were closing about half of them. So it meant like typically like for $600 or less, we could get a signed paid client. So the simple question I have is if you could spend $600 and get a $2,000 a month recurring client, how often would you do that? And the answer is often as fucking humanly possible. So if you guys are interested in getting this exact funnel, we actually have a swipeable version of all of this. I have tools for creating the webinar, the ad, the actual landing page, and all of these retargeting sequences and stuff like that. It's all templatized. It's something we have inside of our private agency mastermind called the Wolfpack, which is kind of like this. Indeed, it is dangerous to go it alone. But I wanted to show you guys these numbers more than anything is because this is very doable. You can go spend 30, 50 bucks a day and get 1 to 2 qualified leads today. And if you really focus on getting your message in front of the right people and calling out the right kind of person. By the way, who is the right kind of person? Well, I'm going to give you 2 shortcuts, okay? Is they're spending money and they have a team, okay? Those are the 2 biggest shortcuts for finding the right people. So how do you screen for people spending money? Well, you talk about what they're spending money. So in our case, I'd say in our ad, like, hey, if you're currently running SEO and you're currently spending money on TV and you're currently running radio stuff, we found nothing dollar for dollar beats Facebook ads, right? Well, I just spoke to somebody spending money. And I'd say if you need steady, consistent work for your team, right? Jeff Miller and I did a whole thing on this. It's about talking to people with money, not broke people, right? So we're not trying to get as many leads. This key word here, qualified. We want to talk to people who are actively spending money and have a team of people. Why a team? Because it means they're used to paying people to solve problems. And you get them in for 10 to 12 bucks a piece. I'll tell you, Facebook ads have gone up. So that number is probably closer to 20 to 25. But the math for all of this still works at $20 to $25 leads. And that was in personal injury, which is a more than average expensive niche. You run the ads, you get people to register, and you invite them to have a sales conversation with you. You give them a webinar, that invites them to a sales conversation. Then you follow up with 6 months of emails and 6 months of retargeting, and all of it invites people to a call. What you're gonna find is for every 1 out of 8 or 9 people that registers over the next 6 months, they will inquire about your service. And like I said, you really only need $2K a month. You need 42 of them to be a millionaire, like statistically. So I hope this is super powerful. I hope you guys are seeing the magic of this. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure to subscribe just for the golden dad guns or to hang out and watch the greatest of all time, the man they call the man, His Holiness the Dude, 170 pounds of pure steel and sex appeal. That's all I got for you guys in this video. May the force be with you. Buy my book or I will show up in your dreams and read all of the terms and conditions for all that software you signed up in a quiet